Dixon. Listen to Dr. Dixon.
Even up to recently, one of my friends that I did not discuss the accident with just asked me, what happened to the next vehicle? You park up a yard or you sell it? Well, here's the story. Park up a yard, you never sell. It was written off due to an accident. So a year ago, March 30, 2025, my vehicle was involved in an accident. Crashed, overturned, written off, mash up, done for. I wasn't the one driving the vehicle at the time. I had a driver for the political period. As you know, it was the electioneering period. We were expecting an election in short order. And as an opposition candidate, you never know when the election going to call. So, it couldn't have come at a worse time. But as I thought about it today, it just brought back to me how much sacrifice goes into it when you put yourself up for political office. Many sacrifices that people don't actually see. Sacrifice of your time, resources, giving up additional income and income earning potential some of the times. The family time that you lose, the time with your friends that you lose, cost you your life. There's still hope. And the vehicle has been replaced. One day I will delve into some of the sacrifices that came personally with my campaign. And you will hear how my greatest opponent wasn't the opponent on paper, but opponent and opponents who wanted to either be the one on the paper, that ballot paper, or wanted to be the kingmaker and select the one who was to be on that ballot paper. I faced my challenges. I faced the fire that came.
You heard that, Scratchy? You heard that?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, neighbor.
What is the doctor saying there? That his greatest challenger wasn't the minister, was right in his own party.
Yeah, but I tell you, neighbor, politics
amazing
is not
stuff. This is another one of the PNP coming out to tell you that the internal workings there is not nice at all.
And we are seeing it again from the PNP neighbor. I always tell you, neighbor.
His greatest challenger wasn't the challenger he had on the paper.
Neighbor, the PNP is an organization that eat them young in a neighbor. Once you are young, neighbor, and you are considered bright, and you have any great potential, neighbor, the PNP has no space for you. And I don't know, neighbor, why these young persons, neighbor, who have them career, whether you're an economist, whether you're a doctor, I don't know why these people believe that the PNP is a place for them, neighbor. The PNP is not a place for these young, bright persons, professional, neighbor. You saw it with Mr. Andre, neighbor. He gets sidelined as an economist. We saw it now, Dr. Dixon, neighbor, who's a medical doctor, getting sidelined, neighbor. The PNP has no place for these young persons who have a career ahead of them. The PNP eat them young. Look at what the PNP has done to Damian Crawford. The PNP has basically turned Damian Crawford into a shadow, an empty vessel, an empty barrel. A young man who, when he just came in the political landscape, neighbor, had so much potential, seems so bright. When you look at even what the one that wrote a Raymond Price, neighbor, no place to be found in the political landscape, neighbor. Many others, when you look at even Venetia Phillips, you look at the one that from up by Stone Hill, that one, the last female who got pregnant to be the man. Neighbor, these young persons, neighbor, Crystal Tomlinson, neighbor. Neighbor, these young persons who offer them service to the PNP, neighbor, after a while, neighbor, they are nothing, they become shell. The PNP, neighbor, has no space for any young professional. So I will implore any young person in Jamaica who have a career ahead of them, who consider themselves young, bright and ambitious, don't join the People's National Party. Take a look at what that organization has done to everyone who push up them head as young and bright, neighbor. They have become nothing but empty shells, neighbor. Look at the Jamaica Labour Party. What do you think Damian Crawford, Raymond Price, and those persons are so ignorant towards the Jamaica Labour Party neighbor. Because when they look and see a Nesta Morgan neighbor, they know who's Nesta Morgan neighbor. They used to see him on campus. They might used to see themselves in a bigger position than him. Look at Nesta Morgan now compared to them. Look at Nesta Morgan right now compared to all of them neighbor. Neighbor, the People's National Party is not an organization for young, bright, and brilliant individuals, neighbor. You're gonna be sidelined, you're gonna be pushed aside, and you're gonna become an empty vessel, just like Mr. Crawford, an empty vessel. Mr. Crawford came out so brilliant. A member of parliament for one term, booted by his own people because they didn't want him. He just get back a chance to go into the party. He's back in the party, and because of his leadership ambition, he's literally being sidelined right now. He's literally being shunned. Neighbor, I can tell all young people, stop thinking that the PNP is the vehicle to bring you to the promised land or bring you to where you want to go. The PNP is not. The PNP eat them young, neighbor. And it is an organization, neighbor, that is riddled with persons, neighbor, who don't want to see young people strive, who don't want to see young people help for the upliftment and push Jamaica forward. That is the problem with the PNP.
Projecting, what do you think about it? Dr. Hall? Take it, Harry.
But to be frank, they'll never see his worth because, he puts it best. He's an independent thinker and the one conformist. No, that will never be the persons who want to change the political space. And Dr. Horton saw it as something of a duty to try and bring what he knows, which is from a nationalistic standpoint. But the People's National Party doesn't nurture nationalism. It nurtures partyism. It nurtures what can you do for the party to prosper. So those youthful persons who are looking, the truth is the People's National Party are lacking so much that these youthful persons can add to, and that is the trap, right? Because the competition, on the other hand, for the Jamaica Labour Party is high. When you look at those persons who have been, bred through the G2K, you look at the caliber, the capacity, and the capabilities of them. If you have that level of desire to, at the highest level, to be leader, you probably have to compete with these people and may never win. And as such, they see the People's National Party as an avenue to serve that self-aspect. But there's two sides to it. While they may see it as a platform to elevate, the People's National Party see it as a way for them to be somewhat relevant with the youthful arena. And then as soon as they get that outcome, they just put them aside because they don't foster and nurture that level of independent thinking, that level of advancement to move the country forward, to serve the country. They just see it as, listen, we're going to do this. Andre Horton said it, pretty much to help the funders. Whatever the funders say, you do. So you become a zombie-like figure because you're now having, in order to do it, you have to now conform to something that is naturally against your natural order as a person. And it gets worse when you're like a professor neighbor. So you're not boy in this. You're known. You speak to a minimum of 1,000 young minds every single day, right? Based on the amount in your class. And as such, you're helping to shape these minds. And when you go into the politics and the party, you think you can also do so. You can also elevate people. But that is not the culture. And I think people need to, specifically persons who are aspiring to go into politics, look at the culture of politics, and then you also look at the culture of both political parties. And you will see why you should or should not make a specific decision. So these are the things I think, as bright as these people are, they mistake or probably was overconfident in their ability and what they've done, their academia and so on. And I think they overstate the importance of that in moving a country forward when going to the People's National Party, not realizing that the People's National Party, they don't run on that. They don't want that. They want you to conform. They want you to be a yes man. Andre Horton said he's not a yes man. And as such, unless you're willing to do that, you don't have a political career on that side. But these are minds, I think, should be one in which you may have to put them in like Senate and so on, neighbor, because an Andre Horton would do well in the Senate. Maybe he has another far way to go in terms of character building and whatever. But the ideas that comes out of persons like this is what you want. And I would have touched on it is a fact. This is the reason why the People's National Party lacks the technocracy aspect of things. That is also why they can never advance Jamaica when in government. And that is a major problem. But I think these people may think that how good they are and how great they are in what they do, they can change that. But listen, I always say you shape society as society shapes you. The People's National Party is not one in which you can do that with.
Well, fantastic. We're gonna have to leave it there tonight. But this is something that we could probably look at tomorrow, Harry, because here is this young doctor saying, "My God, man, he attempted to go into the politics, but his opponent was within his own party." Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff.
It definitely is, and it speaks volume. And these things are going to be exposed as time goes by, as these persons who have the freedom to speak, neighbor, will come out and speak. It is just the nature as to who these persons are, and the culture in Jamaica allows you to now have that freedom, quote unquote, freedom of speech, and as such, we will hear more of this, to be honest.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Just want to say to my friends over on YouTube, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for watching the show, the Hello Neighbor Show, conversations that matter, and that will be here again tomorrow.